Hello again, and welcome back to the next part of this when I have removed the fungus with the hydrogen peroxide in my 200mm Nikon Nikkor Pre-Ai Aperture 4. So I decided to, okay, I have the lens open, so I could just make a second part and re-lube the focus helicoids and then reassemble the lens, and then it's all done. So I have investigated in the focus system and set some marks around here to so I can show you how it actually is when you need to re-grease the helicoid system. And it's not that very hard, but I mean, since I have already opened the lens, I can just continue. I will show you how I take the helicoids apart and where I set the marks, and then I will go out and clean it in my workshop, and then come back with a clean helicoid and ready to be re-lube. And about re-lubing, what grease do I use? Well, I use the grade 30, and which I have buy on japanhobbytool.com. You probably can buy it other places, but this is just, I mean, you actually go to the Amazon.com. So, and this is the first time I use the grade 30. I usually use the grade 10. So, and I have also written some notes about how things are taken apart, which I will show you as long as I continue with the disassemble of the helicoid. So before taking things apart, we simply need some reference mark. As when I put the focus ring on here, the distance index and the infinity should be in line with the in the middle here, not in each side, but in the middle of the 8-digit number who is laying down the infinity mark. And the screw holes should also be in I do not put the screws in here, but since my focus ring is correct, I can simply just take off the focus ring and hold here the inside of the focus system, set a mark here in line with the index mark here, so you know where the this is my reference mark for the for when I'm taking apart the helicoids. I mean, just the outer helicoid. And I also put a infinity mark here, so it's easy for me to remember. It's not that hard. So, and also on the inside of the internal, I mean the inner helicoid, I also set a mark here just for be sure on the key for the that keep the things from not falling around when turning the focus ring, just to be sure where they should sit. And before I take anything apart, I also put a mark on here for the inner helicoid to the yeah, let's say the outer helicoid. And I also put a mark on the middle helicoid tube, so I know where the inner helicoid will go off the thread. But let's, I mean, it's easier to explain as we go on. So the this tube here with the index mark here and this ring should be taken off by 3 screws here. I already have been into and clean it as much as I could from the fungus, and there was some. And when I put into the lighter fluid and clean the helicoids, I think there will be nothing left of fungus. So so off with that. And again, this one can only sit in one position. It will say you cannot set it that way, it will not go on. So just to be sure not to get confused about anything. Now the index mark ring here will come off, and before I fully take it off, there should also be a mark, so the screw sits there, and I also set a mark here, right there. So the white index mark here, I just set a small arrow, or just a small scratch with my dentist tool, so I know when taking off the nice ring here, I still know where things should sit. So I also put a infinity mark here and an arrow. So now I'm ready to unscrew the key here with the 3 screws here and take one helicoid part off. It will say the outer helicoid here. I'll unscrew it, and as you can see here, oh, there was a mark here. So when turning the outer helicoid, let's say clockwise, to come off, it will be almost 1 1/4 revolution till off. So I will explain when taking off the key here. So out with the 3 screws. It's not that hard. The main thing is that you know where the thread comes off. I haven't got any. I haven't never seen a repair manual for this lens. So that's why I put scratch on the, not on the on directly on the thread, but at the area where I can still have a kind of, what you say, reference. So it will be easier. So off with that key. It's pretty heavy stuff. Good material, not plastic. Now I have my beginning, my reference mark here. So I will simply turn the outer helicoid tube. Since I have to follow this mark here, it will go 1. There is 1 revolution. See the mark here and there. And it will go all the way over to this mark here, where I have scratched off, so no one is not sure how it will go. So there will be almost 1/4 when the ring comes off. It would say there. And when I put it on, it can be a little tricky to get it correctly on. It has to say click when you have got the correct thread. Sometimes it can be a little tricky to put on some, but as long as I have my mark here, I know where I am. Not over here, because it will not fit or anywhere else. And of course there's old lube grease. You set here, maybe it says click, and then I can just go all the way back here and I still have the same distance from here. So off with that helicoid, off with that. So very easy. And the of course the inner helicoid, it's the same process. And you maybe discover that I set a mark. I can just show you. So there, since I put a mark in here before I took out the key. Oh, where did it go? There, on this the outer tube, and there's also a mark which is on the inner helicoid. So now I know where things should sit when I put them together again. But the point is, I also know where the inner helicoid will go off the thread of the middle tube. And since I have to go counterclockwise compared to the outer, this mark here, it will go a bit over 1 revolution, as I wrote here, till off. So it will be a bit over, because I will go around here and there it comes off. You see, I already put a mark here, a tiny mark here, not on the thread, but on the edge of this of the middle aluminium helicoid tube. And since it will come off there, so be sure to set a mark where the helicoid comes off, because if you just turn the the helicoid off and you just oh, okay, where did it go? You have to know where the thread comes off, because there is no one to ask about it. So therefore it's very important you make those marks, scratch, or whatever you do. I mean, somebody said no, you do not damage. I mean, no one will see it anyway. So now I'm absolutely 100% sure where the 3 helicoid tubes will sit, even if I clean them, which I will do right now. So I will be back in a few minutes with clean helicoids. Okay, now I have cleaned the helicoids as much as I could. I mean, one can see it's a bit worn out, so and that's why I would like to use the more thicker, not that much thicker, grade 30 helicoid grease. So and I will use a brush. This is a makeup brush which I cut in small so it fits in my little workshop. So off with the lid, and it looks just like the grade 10 grease, but it's a bit thicker. So use the brush to apply on the on the helicoid. It's not much you need to put on, since it's very the economic in that thing is very good. So begin with the I would say the first part of the helicoid when it goes in here. So begin with the starting, so the grease will spread along in the thread, and it's not really much you need to put on. So a little will go very long. So, and let's see how it can be working when putting it on here. And since I have a mark here, I know where things should sit. So this one go on here, just catch the thread, and it will say click. Funny sound when the threads have, yeah, so it is. Oh, it's a bit, I think it's a bit too thick in my opinion. So maybe I will just clean this. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it will be fine. Okay, let's see how it will go. I will know it in short time. So just add a little grease on the middle helicoid ring. So get all the threads, so there is lube on it. So that will be fine. And since I have a mark here with my reference mark from the very beginning, and I have my off mark here, I know where things should sit when I just give it a little movement. Click. Ah, come on. Not too much pressure on it. It will find the way. So there. And give it some movement. So it'll be interesting to see how hard the focus ring is to move. Maybe it's a good thing for some. I like the movement of the focus system to be not too tight, I mean too heavy. I like it more softened. So but one can find out by putting on the key here. Where did it go? Here. Just put the key in. so, and find the holes for the screw here, there, and I will just put in one screw, maybe two. Oh, come on. So I have an idea of how stiff will it be. Of course, you also have to lube the this part here on each side. It also needs some, very little. But how good is it actually? It's simply too heavy, in my opinion. So I will just clean it and then use the grade 10 instead. So I will be back in a moment. Okay, so now I clean off the the grade 30, which I think was a bit too hard in the focus. And I will simply continue with the grade 10, which is also from Japan Hobby Tool or Amazon, and simply try to put this on, apply this with a brush. It looks like the same, very white. I know it's difficult to see, but it's much softer. So let's see what we do with the inner helicoid. And there's no need for putting on too much. You can just spread it a little. Maybe it's a bit too much, but let's see how it'll go. So, very little, and I have my mark here, and I also have my mark somewhere here, and I think it will, of course, I should have applied the grease on the other end. So, well, just a little mistake. So it will be enough. It's not really much. It looks more into the camera because of the a bit overexposed light maybe, but there is not much grease on this. Now let's put it on, see how it will go. So click. Wow, much better. Give it some movement. Yeah, it's really something that works pretty good. So there, and it should be around there. Then I can add the outer helicoid, and not apply much on this. So I think it will be fine. The movement will do the rest to spread the grease. And again, since I have my mark here, my reference mark, my off mark for the outer helicoid, I can simply just add it when it says click. I have the correct thread. So there. Wow, that's much better. So it should be, in my opinion. So I can just set it to infinity here. And since I also have the mark inside here, I know where things should sit and can just put in the key again. And just need to dry my gloves here. And then we are on the way back to assemble the whole lens, build all the things. And I can just add a little loop here, just a tiny amount on the part here and on the other side here, so the key runs smooth. There it go. So, and then it should be there. Don't tighten it yet, because then it should be easier to tighten all the screws. Maybe I should use some thread lock. You could use some thread lock, but well, maybe I will disassemble the lens again, I don't know. But then I think it will work pretty good. Anyway, since it's steel against aluminium, okay, yeah, it works pretty good. It's just really greasy. My gloves on the outer helicoid, so just give it some wipe away with the rest of it. And then I can continue with the index mark ring here, put it on, and the 3 screws around the ring. So there. And the small dot, where did it go? See here, this one goes on here, and find, oh, have to turn it over. It was really wrong. I think there was something wrong. So now it sits correct. I mean, the small screw holes here set it all. So, on with it, this ring, and put in a tiny screw. There will be 3 of them. And then we are done with the focus part. I mean, almost. Also need to put the focus ring on, but it will be later. So now it's actually okay. And then I can continue with the internal part for the aperture system, and can put it on here. So there, it should go there. This one should face like this. So the screw holes here is against the holes here. So just move this and Let's see how it will go. It should stay there. Where's the curve site? I mean, come on. So, move, and as I move this, So when you put this on, this piece here, you should set it to something like this pin has to be all the way over here. And this part in here, whoosh, sorry, this has to be put all the way over here. And keep it there, as we can see there, because then it would be easier to put this on. So, and then add the 2 screws here. And since I already have set a mark where this part should sit, as you probably remember, I have a mark here and there. So it will be, I know exactly where the things should sit because of the scratch. So therefore it is important when you're working with those old lenses. No matter how much you think, oh no, it is not necessary for me. Yeah, true. But since there is no repair manual for this, wow, great. So there it is. And then I can actually apply the many of the other things that need to go in. This tube needs to come on, but first this one has to go in first. There. And I also set those 2 marks because so I know this hole, when I put it on here, I know exactly where it should sit. And it will be easier to put in this tube when you bend this tube here a little, because then it should be easier to put this, don't know what it called, it probably has a name. So there, and it should sit there. And one could actually put this retaining ring on here just to secure that it will not fall off, if it's possible. Well, one could use a rubber tool, not this one. Is there anything else I could use? Maybe this one? No. Okay, it's not easy. Come on, little fellow. So, there it goes. So now safe home. So turn it over and put in the 3 screws here, there and there. Then I can apply the no then I can put in the aperture assembly with the plates on, and then it's almost straightforward to do the rest. This tube here can be a little annoying because it has to sit correct. So don't tighten the screws here on the front. Yeah, it sits okay now. See, this little fork can also move. So and it's possible to do this. Yeah, so when moving the aperture connection arm to the camera, it will move here. So it looks like it's fine. And this arm here will also move, which is the connection to the aperture ring. And I will put this connection in now. Maybe I should have done in the opposite direction. Yeah, so it is. Well, of course this pin, this fork, has to come in first. I forgot. So no one is perfect, so we do it again. But since I have all my marks, which I set when I disassembled the lens, it's no problem, because I know where everything should sit. So, and then it should be possible to move this a little, as much as I can put in the fork here. I think it should be possible to in here. Yeah, here we are. So it's good. And just have to put it into correct place. So there. Now, and then it sits fine. So I think it'll be fine now. So turn it over and put in the 3 screws here on the front. Just begin with one, and then I can put in the aperture ring. Just give it a little grease here. So, and need to load my screwdriver with one screw for the aperture ring. Oh, see, this key will fall out. Where did the hole go? And there should be two holes, as you probably can see there, and put in one screw. You can also do the rest of with the other screw. So, and now I can move my aperture ring, and if we go to the other side, it's also possible. So now we are back on track again and can assemble the rest of the lens. So now it's time to put in the aperture assembly, which can be a little tricky. See, it has to stay fully closed that way. Be aware of the spring here. You see here. If the spring is not on, it will say it sits like that. The aperture will not work proper. So this spring, this tiny hairspring, has to sit on there. It will say on this side. And the other end will go against the little this little wall here. And so close the aperture as you should. So this one has to stay all the way over here. Fully close the aperture. There was one small hair. And then put the aperture on 32. So, so when putting in the aperture assembly, this one has to be put all the way over here. So you can actually move by one finger, move the aperture connection to the aperture assembly. And this pin will go against the see, where is my scratch? It's there. And because I cleaned the helicoid system and other parts, I set a blue mark here before, and it's simply gone here. So it was very good. I set a scratch before I took out the aperture assembly. So I can also find the other scratch here, so I know where things should sit. The connection, this pin here, this fork, is for going from the aperture ring, is connected to this pin here. So this fork will engage with this pin here. So it should sit like that. This fork here will also engage to be connected to this pin here. So remember that. So it can be a little tricky to put on this here. Put it in and get the, I have the screw hole there. So maybe, if I'm lucky, not yet, it has to be moved a little more. So here we are. And is it possible to move the aperture ring? Hopefully it is. Yeah, it works. It works proper, as it should. So I can just put in the one screw here, and hopefully it will work correct. Not? Well, part of it working, but the connection to the, maybe you can see it, right down here, it will not be connected to it. Yeah. Well, need to take it out again. And open it with the, so this one has to be all the way over to here. So I will just try again. See the fork here. Will it need to set it so? Yeah. No. So I can move this. The aperture ring sits correct there. And this one has to stay all the way over here. Hopefully. There. Has to push this a little. And then try again. So it should be something around there. Where is that hole? Yeah, there. Whew. And hopefully it will work proper. No? Okay, there is another possibility. I will just put in a screw to see if I can get it to work. Weird. Yeah. Okay. 32. Yeah. See, it can be a little tricky. It sits all the way over here. And this has to be moved. No, that was weird. Maybe it's because of this one here that need to be tightened. Where did my tool go? Here. So, yeah, here we are. Yep. So it is there. So that was the problem. That it was not fully screwed in the back tube here. I mean, hopefully it's a problem. Yeah, see, it works. Now that's great. But there are some things you need to be aware of. So, and there. So, here we are. And just need to put in some lens element. Just need to tighten this again. So put in a lens group, the back lens group. And where did it go? Yeah, you can just use this to tighten it with. Then put on the focus ring. And I don't know where it should sit, because my infinity mark and my little arrow. So when putting this on. I should have the correct setting. There are 3 screws around the focus ring that need to be put in. So there. And then we are almost there. It's not bad. Well, if you think, why did I not put the thread lock on? Well, in my opinion, you can use the thread lock from Loctite. Maybe there are other brands who produce that. Or you could use the, it's a bit more heavy, but you could also use the Loctite 243. But just use a less amount. So that was actually it. Wow. Now that's a good thing. It's buttery, very buttery. Just like butter. So I can just end this session by putting on the front lens group. And then I have a clean lens. And yeah, that's it. Almost there. Just catch the thread. The set screw is not fully out. I mean, the thread is a bit worn out, so so tighten it gently, and also tighten the set screw gently. So the only thing that remains is actually to put the focus rubber ring on, and then the lens lens mount to the camera. And here we are with a fully functional. Clean it as much as I could. So there. And so on with the mount. And here we are done. All 5 screw holes. Then put on the 5 screws. So, and so we are there, 1 screw left, and here we are. So it's not that hard. You just have to be very aware of where things should sit when you put them. Oh, yeah. But how does it look? Oh, shit. Well, you can see before it was you couldn't see anything, but now it's much better. That's amazing. So I'm actually very happy with this process of cleaning a lens, and at the same time Re-lube the helicoid. So as you can see, it's not that hard, but it works. So that's all for me right now. So bye bye. Ooh.